Now that you've heard the results, we're going to go into the Q&A. Again, I instructed the students to not ask me any soft questions and to come with some tough questions. Here's what they had to ask.
Thank you for my presentation. I now open the floor for questions. Okay, I know y'all have some questions, right? Okay, come to the mic. Okay, so I'm going to deal with one at a time. So y'all come to the mic and ask your questions.
Well, we know that the people who were fed with the cayenne didn't have an outbreak for 3 weeks, but you didn't say how long it had been after the people who didn't have cayenne had outbreaks. So.
So they got an outbreak a few days after I fed them. A recipe with no cayenne pepper.
Do you think that higher, since they were only cared for 3 weeks, do you think that higher, if they had if they had more cayenne pepper, like maybe if they had like a cayenne drink that contained like more cayenne pepper than that was in the food, do you think it could have given for a longer amount of time?
I think that when they ate the cayenne pepper energized their stomach to destroy the herpes simplex virus. And so I think that once they ate the cayenne pepper recipe that it destroyed the virus and it was no longer there. So I'm not sure if they needed longer. I think they were instantly cured.
Have you stopped monitoring them, or have you checked on them to see if they've had any outs recently?
No, I haven't.
Think that if they had the cayenne pepper at 3 week intervals, do you think that they would be completely cured, or would they have to keep taking it, or would they have to take a higher concentrate for them to just be cured?
I think that the cayenne pepper instantly cured them. When they ate it, I think the first meal of cayenne pepper was enough to destroy all the virus.
Okay. Well, if you haven't monitored them, if you only monitored them for like 3 weeks and they didn't have any outbreaks within 3 weeks, and you're not monitoring them now, then that would that doesn't then then I don't see how exactly what exact how do you what exactly what exactly makes you believe that the virus was completely destroyed after 3 weeks?
Because they had no outbreaks. Not only did they didn't have any outbreaks, and they smiled and they were happy. So that's what people do when they feel well. So that means that they were cured.
But they weren't cured if it came back.
Didn't hear you. Could you repeat?
Do you have any evidence whether they came back within the 3 weeks, or whether they had an outbreak after those 3 weeks? Because it doesn't seem to, yeah, we don't know if they were completely cured if we don't have any monitoring after the 3 weeks.
So they didn't call me and complain. So I I I can I'm concluding because they didn't call me back after after the experiment that they never got it again.
The cayenne possibly just stopped the herpes from flaring just for that time period. That doesn't mean it was cured completely. What the speaker should have done before he came with the presentation was distinguish where the herpes was in the body, where the virus is, and really experiment and see if the cayenne actually destroyed and erased the herpes from the body.
Okay, well you see, the other group, the reason why I'm confident that the virus was destroyed because the control group didn't receive any cayenne pepper whatsoever, and they were um, and and they almost instantly had an outbreak after I was done feeding them.
But that's only from one side of the body. That's the outside. You gotta go inside and experiment to see what's going on. I'm guessing that the virus is microscopic and you can't see it. You gotta go inside.
And you have to think about it like, how do you know it was the cayenne that was making them not have an outbreak? It could have been any other factor. It could have been whatever that was happening, that they were having outbreaks before, and it wasn't going on in that time. So you have to think about it.
Now, Mel, you hit the nail on the head. I did very little to really test whether or not the herpes simplex virus was actually there. Because my using cayenne pepper and their lack of an outbreak could have been a complete coincidence, couldn't it? So, what is a coincidence? Who can tell me what a coincidence is?
Is when something happens like just by chance, happens to happen, and then it's like it just happens to happen, and it may look like the same thing, but it's not.
Absolutely. That's when things happen at the same time, but they may not necessarily be correlated. It just might be the fact that they happen at the same time. By chance, as Akila said, happened at the same time, and like Amira said, they may not be the cause of each other. It could have been complete coincidence. I could have just got lucky. The fact that they didn't call me back and tell me they had another outbreak, does that still mean that they didn't have an outbreak? And like Damel said, I didn't do a Western blot, did I? I didn't do a Western blot test in their blood to see if the herpes simplex virus was there. I didn't do a PCR test. PCR means polymerase chain reaction. And that test is used to count exactly how many specimens of a virus are in a sample of blood. I didn't do a PCR test. I didn't do a Western blot. Western blot tests, they look for antibodies. I didn't do a PCR test to look for the exact virus. So how do I know that the virus isn't there anymore? The virus just could have been mutated to get temporary dormancy, couldn't it? What else was suspect about my experiment?
Your references were very suspect, because you said something about like psychics, and then believing that something would give you psychic powers or something like that, and the names were out of the ordinary, like Babyloni or something like that, and they didn't seem very trustful, or like those places had any like professional history, or whether, so they weren't very trustful or suitable to reference.
Wow. It's funny you say that, because I knew I was going to throw y'all for a couple of loops. And it's funny because after I let go of the talk now button and got your initial reactions when I finished, I just fell out of my chair laughing. And it was like you all had so many questions, like, wow, this experiment is so bogus and so suspect, I don't even know where to start. It took y'all a couple of minutes to even gather up how to start asking questions. Okay, so now, this is what's going to happen if you come to a science fair and you don't come correct. They will eat you alive, just like y'all ate me alive. and rightfully so. I mean, because, like, imagine if I went to the public and said, "Ooh, cayenne pepper, you don't need your medicine. Just eat cayenne pepper and you can be cured of herpes." Some people would believe it. Some people would believe it. And some people would like, "Ooh, okay. Ooh, cayenne pepper." But rightfully so. You all so pretty much we can say that you all have completely rejected my hypothesis. Nobody in the room that has not rejected my hypothesis.
As you can see, the students rejected my hypothesis, and rightfully so, because my information was completely bogus, my experimental design was flawed, and my hypothesis in the background research was from suspect characters and not from credible sources. Now,
I would encourage you to use this video both as a reference as to how Q&A would go in response to a scientific presentation, and how to be skeptical about suspect research and dubious results. This is Gary Booker. Thanks for watching.